Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the 2023 top 10s as I look at my 135-pound lightweight division, and these are the fighters that are on the bubble. Now, before we get into this, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So the on the bubble video for each division is about the fighters that are on the verge of busting into the top 10, that have the biggest opportunities. They're either ranked highly by the governing bodies or they're big names, and we know they're moving up into the division, anything like that, or they're already getting an opportunity that we know about. So let's jump into it and take a look at the fighters in no particular order that look like they're gonna have the that are on the bubble. We start with Dennis Beryanchuk. He's the WBO's #2 contender. Excuse me. It looks like he's fighting for the title next. Part of the reason why is Vasily Lomachenko looks to be fighting George Kambosos for the vacant IBF title. Now, unless the WBO allows Lomachenko and Kambosos to go off for the vacant IBF and WBO belts, then Dennis Beryanchuk is next in line after Lomachenko in the WBO to compete for the title. So he's either going to fight Isaac Cruz, who's a #3 contender, or he could also end up facing Emmanuel Navarrete, who's contemplating moving from 130 to 135. Navarrete, prior to his fight with Conceição last year, had requested from the WBO to be deemed a super champion, so he could be able to move up and move ahead of any contender in the WBO to compete for the belt, and they granted him that. But then he had the draw with Conceição. Now he's having hand surgery, but he did say he's going to be back early in the year, but he did not say where and when and what division. So Beryanchuk looks like whomever it is, he's going to be fighting for the vacant belt next. So just waiting around for confirmation of that, but it looks like Beryanchuk is right there on the bubble to be competing for a world title and potentially be a world champion. So we'll see. Then there's Edwin De Los Santos, who's #4 in the WBA. He actually just recently fought Shakur Stevenson for the WBC, the vacant WBC title, and came up short, losing a unanimous decision in a fight where he landed the least amount of punches in the history recorded by CompuBox in a championship fight. So he didn't really do himself much of a favor, but De Los Santos is an entertaining fighter, and he's still banging around. And he's the kind of fighter, because he's with the PBC, that like Tank Davis might give an opportunity to, so he could try to one-up Shakur Stevenson. But you know, we got to wait and see what might come for De Los Santos. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into some kind of an eliminator or on in terms of a big fight. Even though he didn't look good in that fight either, Shakur Stevenson has taken the brunt of the blame for why that fight wasn't a good one. Then there's Angel, I think it's Angel Fierro, who's the WBO's #4 contender. Fierro could end up fighting Beryanchuk for the vacant belt, because Isaac Cruz has been linked to a potential showdown and rematch with Gervonta Tank Davis. So he might forego the opportunity to win the WBO belt, and Beryanchuk could be ordered to fight Fierro. It really just depends on what shakes out with Tank, but also what shakes out with Emmanuel Navarrete, if he wants to move to 135, or Vasily Lomachenko, who I think might be lobbying to compete for both the WBO and IBF vacant belts in a single fight. So we'll see. But Fierro's sitting there right on the border of potentially landing a title shot. Then there's Maxie Hughes, the IBF's #5 contender. Maxie Hughes, haven't really heard much about what he's going to do, but He's sitting there at number 5 in the IBF. He could potentially get into an eliminator this year to move in line for a world title probably in 2025, because Lomachenko looks to be fighting Kambosos next for the vacant IBF belt, which means they likely wouldn't have to make a mandatory of the IBF title in their second fight of the year. So Hughes might just go after an eliminator. And then finally, there's Floyd Schofield, the WBA's number 5 contender. He's ranked highly in the WBA, trying to move in line, and that's pretty much it on him. Not really else much to say. He's just one of the guys ranked high. There's also somebody I wanted to mention is Jose Valenzuela. After his brutal knockout of Chris Colbert, technically that was a final eliminator in the WBA. So I don't know if they're moving him straight to the top spot or not. And then there's Emmanuel Navarrete, who potentially could be moving into the into lightweight and getting an opportunity at the WBO title next, because he declared, as I said a little while ago, that he asked for permission to be a super champion in the WBO so he can move up and compete for a championship in any weight class. He might take the opportunity to fight Dennis Berianchek at 135 and try to line himself up for unifications with Shakur Stevenson or potentially Vasily Lomachenko. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. That's what I got. That's my on the bubble, fighters on the bubble for the 2023 top 10s. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.